Why hello everyone, Spencer here, also known as Language 11, and in today's video, this is a long-awaited movie review. Today's is Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Spoiler review, there will be some spoilers in this video, so if you haven't seen the movie, back out now. But without further ado, let's discuss. Okay, so first and foremost, a little bit of housekeeping here. I got my list of notes that I did take down on the movie itself. And saw this movie release weekend, saw it July 1st. I was going to see, I was wondering when I was going to see it because my family and I, my parents and I went and saw this. We were like, should we go on July 4th, 4th of July weekend? Because I had work off on July 4th, but then we're like, no, let's do it Saturday. I want to see it release weekend, so we saw it the Saturday. We didn't see it release night, but we then saw it release weekend, so that's fine. Spider-Verse, I did see it opening night in IMAX, but it's different. It's fine. I saw it opening weekend. So, what do I think of the film? Kicking off my how I do these with the score or soundtrack, done by John Williams. Masterful. Okay. Let me start this off. I have another category. I have another note here of my love for the franchise, which I'll get to right after this. But John Williams, I don't think this film is necessarily, or this score is as memorable as Star Wars or as other Indiana Jones works, but it's still John Williams, and you can hear it. This is the greatest composer of all time. In my opinion, it is, and then right underneath that is Michael Giacchino. Michael Giacchino is beloved for me because he's my generation, but John Williams is also that masterful score composer. But he in this movie is hard for me. I hear people talk about everything about this movie, the controversy, like, oh, it's going to be bad, but I have bias towards this film, but what John Williams, there's not really tons of pieces here that are like, this stands out and this stands out, but there's good moments of it that really, for the action pieces itself, because this film is filled with action. So I really appreciate the moments that that you can hear the compositions in. I just like it. I'm a sucker for John Williams, and who isn't? So I don't know. One of the highlights of this film. So, well done, John Williams. Love you. Good score. And moving onwards to the characters. Well, no. Sorry. I was going to talk about my love for the franchise. My love for the franchise, Indiana Jones, is through the roof. I think it would come close to Marvel. I don't know how I would rank. Because right now, I'm sorry. I don't want to make this a video about Star Wars. But Star Wars has gone all over the place. And I feel like overall, collectively with Star Wars, it's massive, but when you take account with the Disney stuff, it just does not blend well. With Indiana Jones, we've only had one bad movie, and even Crystal Skull has some good moments in it. So when you take a look at the franchise as a whole, and even that Indiana Jones show, which I haven't watched but looks intriguing, I think with the overall package, there is more love and more to love with the franchise of Indiana Jones, and for me, it's way up there, right in the collection of Marvel. It's not in because DC's way down here for me. So there's that. Temple of Doom, people have Raiders and Crusade up here. I think Temple of Doom is just so beloved for me. I don't know why. I love the weirdness of it and all of that. It's just, it gets me every time. In all three movies, I think the original trilogy is perfect. Perfect trilogy of all time. Once we get Spider-Verse, the next Spider-Verse, I'm going to have, I think those are the best trilogies of all time, in my opinion. But this was really getting me excited for this film. I mean, rewatching those three films, Crystal Skull was okay, like I said. But then this one, the character, moving on from my love for the franchise, this movie surprised me with the characters, because the goddaughter, some people were like, oh, it's going to be Rey all over again. Here we go. A classic white male role getting transferred into a female role. that's not what this is. That's not what this is at all. I want to burst your bubble there, but that's not what this is. This is a character. I'm trying to make an analogy here that's sort of good, sort of bad. Think of Crystal Skull with Mutt, right? Where it's just a character going along on the ride with Indy. She's not taking over the mantle at all. It's just his goddaughter's there. What I love, when I kind of kicking into the story here, but well, also we have characters like goddaughter's fine. She grows on you. We have this new kid character who's okay. It brings some sort of humor into the mix with it, like kiddie humor. It tries to be, but I really wish Short Round was here. Trying to be the like son Indiana Jones never had, if you will, and make a cameo, or just be instead replacing the goddaughter. But they didn't do that, and they had the goddaughter, so that's fine. That's fine for me. But if Short Round could have made a cameo, I would have loved to see that, and unfortunately he didn't. So we're given with what we had. I'm sorry, there's a spoiler there. He's not in the film. I really wish he was. I do like what Ke Huy Quan's acting though in the American Born Chinese show, and if I can see him in more stuff, Ke Huy Quan is a great actor. I think he's coming back in the limelight. Great to see him. Unfortunately, he's not in this film. So we get that. We get Toby Jones as the goddaughter's father, who's Toby Jones is Arnim Zola in Marvel. Good time in the flashback there. The 20 minute action. Well, I'll get to that later. Mads Mikkelsen is the villain. I'm sorry, I should have done my research on this. I really should have. But the guy who like points the gun and just does like the henchman of Mads Mikkelsen with the mustache, who was in Logan, also directed by James Mangold. By the way, James Mangold did a good job directing this movie. I forget his name. I really forget his name. And I kept thinking, I'm like, who is this guy? And I didn't pay attention to who it was. So he did a good job as well. The guy that chased Indiana Jones on the horse, which was a good action sequence as well. I liked some of the action and everything, which we'll get to a little bit in a second here. But Mads Mikkelsen did good. People are saying that he didn't. I'm like, what are you talking about? It's Mads Mikkelsen. It's like he did fine here in the role. Because I think I'm basing it off of other things like he did in Marvel. Like he was in Marvel too. I forgot who he played. Mads Mikkelsen was him in Caecilius in Doctor Strange. His other big role, and I lost it. But he was also in the recent Fantastic Beasts, which I think is my least favorite role of his because he took a role from who was Johnny Depp, and then which I just have various thoughts of Fantastic Beasts, but this I digress. So overall, I thought the characters were good. Oh, and Antonio Banderas, Puss in Boots, being in this movie is fine. Antonio Banderas got killed, so that's okay. He was a fun role to see. And Sala, and two classic roles returning, Sala and Marion. Both a little teary-eyed, I gotta say, when they returned. I got a little bit teary-eyed when, obviously we see Sala in the trailer, and then Marion we don't know about, but I'll return back to Marion in a little bit. So, by the way, the action and the pacing, I mentioned the humor before with the kid character. There was some great action in here with the tuk-tuk stuff, and then the horse, and the motorcycle chase, and then the plane, obviously, in the ending, but I'll get to the ending in a little bit. So, there were some great action sequences in this. James Mangold, I think, is great with this stuff. And I love Ford v Ferrari. I love Logan. Two great masterful films of directed and filmmaking. And I love the sceneries, by the way. I love the scenery and the action scenes. I have to say, I have to interject and make a side note right now before I forget this at the end, because it's not an end type deal. Last year when I went to the theater and saw Jurassic World Dominion with my friend, one of my friends, I should say, not my best friend, but one of my friends, and we were watching it, and I half the time I was confused, and basically at the end, everybody with that film thinks, what will happen with Jurassic World Dominion? This is not in any shape or form like Jurassic World Dominion. Now you can have your own opinion. Like I have my opinions. I'm biased towards this film because I like Indiana Jones. I do like the Jurassic World / Park franchise. Like I think after the first it kind of deteriorates, but I like Jurassic World, the first Jurassic World, a little bit, kind of like The Force Awakens, but after that it just derails. But this in no way, shape or form is this film like Jurassic World Dominion. And you guys might have your own thoughts on that. Like you could think the Indiana Jones franchise is dead. But this is not like that at all. So I just want to say that. But yeah, there's great action pieces, set moments with the tuk-tuk scene and the plane or the car chase, the train scene. The train scene in the beginning is great. I love de-age Harrison Ford. I think that whole sequence worked for the story because then you see how the dial is introduced and the whole, and then with Mads Mikkelsen, and then we get Toby Jones, a little bit of dialogue there, and then we cut to obviously the goddaughter and all this stuff and we get her motivation. We jump forward and then Harrison Ford, and then they were in the auction scene, and Harrison Ford's trying to find her, and how she's using the dial and to sell it off to people, and then they get in this big car chase with the tuk-tuks and then the horse and all of this stuff is happening. I love all the action scenes. I love the dialogue and how they have to go into this rigmarole with the dial and what it means throughout history and all this sort of stuff. So the story's great. I love the action. The pacing, people are talking about the pacing because I'm like trying to think. I missed at one part because I thought my eyes had closed and I wasn't sure what happened. So I wasn't quite sure when I was putting the pieces together, so I'm going to have to watch it again. I'm not going to go in theaters, but once it's out, I'm going to have to watch it again. Definitely watch this movie again. Because I wasn't quite sure, like, I heard somebody say, like, was the pacing off about how the dial was given, like, what the motivation was for the villain? But anyway, everything was great. I love the story, the soundtrack, the action, and humor worked well in it. I didn't think any of it was cringe, but hey, maybe that's just me with my bias towards Marvel. But I have to also say didn't feel like I was cringing as much as I was like when I watched the most recent Marvel films like Doctor Strange or Ant-Man. I can feel a little bit of the cringe, but I'm not cringing so much. I'm like, I don't want to watch this Marvel film, but I don't feel like this had any of this Disney Marvel cringe humor. And maybe that's just me, but I don't know. I could be absolutely, or you might have a different take on the film. So anyway, there might have been some pacing problems, but I didn't see any. I love the fact that they took the plane route again, kind of like in the old Indiana Jones movies. Really cool stuff there. Something else I wanted to mention. Somebody said, or the de-aging worked for me. I didn't have any issue about that. I kind of heard Indiana Jones' old voice in there, but it was fine for me. There was something else. Oh, it was, somebody said, oh, Indiana Jones, I couldn't see Indiana Jones doing all these stunts in his old age, right? And I think there's a couple things here about that. One is it's not Tom Cruise, so he's not in his, he's not Tom Cruise's age, so he obviously can't do every stunt. And number two is he just did what he could. Like, I don't know. It looked fine. I don't think, like, you're thinking, oh my gosh, this guy's doing everything, and oh, wow, look at him. Like, that was really Harrison Ford. It may have been, it may have not been. Like, I don't think it was. He might have had a stunt double there. But whatever he did, and it worked for the film, and I really enjoyed seeing him do whatever he could. So, good job, Harrison Ford. Good stunts, and there was some good action there. Okay, so moving on to the ending / my rating, but I'll get to my rating once I'm done here. The way the time travel is used was like my mom, when we walked out, my mom said, "This is like Indiana Jones and Back to the Future in one." I'm like, yes. And I wasn't expecting this to have time because the Dial of Destiny, you know, in the trailer says you can rewrite time or it can change the course of history, right? I didn't expect it to do time travel because I didn't know how it really worked and then what the whole artifact itself did, how it was going to be used. But when they actually said it could do this and they went back in time, I was fascinated. Like, I was fascinated because this really felt like an Indiana Jones adventure film, and it is. Like the last one, when you rewatch Crystal Skull, or like if you haven't seen, like not just if you rewatch it, but if you're watching it for the first time, you may go like, "What is happening in this film? This isn't Indiana Jones. What am I watching?" Like Shia LaBeouf jumping through jungle trees with monkeys, like this is bizarre, and a nuclear bomb going off. I don't know what like Indiana Jones has to climb into a refrigerator. I am confused, and this gets it back on track because when you're in the once you time travel through the portal, it feels like when you get to the end of Crystal Skull and there's the portal, that is not Indiana Jones. Like there's magic like with the ripping hearts out, human sacrifices, the Ark of the Covenant being opened. That's different. That's weird, but it's classic Indiana Jones. With this, you go back in time to the Roman War. That feels like Indiana Jones, not aliens in space and blowing up refrigerators and oh my gosh, and jungles with trees and giant ants and Crystal Skull. What are we doing? Steven Spielberg had a crazy mind, I guess. He wanted to take a different approach, but this film takes it back on track, and I loved it. I loved the ending with the plane. There was one crazy thing with the kid who couldn't fly a plane. Teddy couldn't fly a plane, and I'm like, okay. Yeah, how are you doing that in like a windstorm at going 150 miles per hour winds? Insane, crazy, okay. But you made it anyway. And then the whole Roman War thing within Indiana Jones has a little bit of a sad, emotional ending there when he wants to stay, and because he has seen the war and made it, he's seeing history being made, but she punches him in the face, and then they take the portal back, and they're in back in New York City in their own time. So they're back there, and the whole ending battle really fascinated me. It really was quite entertaining to watch. The whole movie was it surprised me. It didn't. I heard someone say, I can't remember if this was Sean Chandler, and no disrespect to him. I don't mean to disrespect him. I love the dude. But he said, I think he said the ending felt anticlimactic, and I'm like, how was the ending anticlimactic? Maybe I need to watch it again because not that I didn't understand the film. Maybe I missed something. I don't know, but I love the ending battle. I love the resolution because maybe this is what he meant. Maybe the way that she punched him in the face and then just suddenly got back there, maybe that's what was anticlimactic. But I thought it was fine. That's all I could say. I thought it was fine. As I get to my rating here, I want to continue that. So, yes, she punches him in the face. And they're back in New York City, as I said, and they have a little resolution, or he's like, why did you bring me back? And she's like, well, for this reason. Teddy walks in with a little certain someone we know, the woman Marion, his wife, as they got married in the one film, which was so sweet. You know, as for bad is sort of some of the good moments that outweigh the bad in Crystal Skull. One of the best moments was them getting married at the end of the last one, and this one we have Marion return. One of the best moments, her and Sala were great to see. And Sala walks in after they have a little chit chat, like, "Hey, how are you? Good. What are you doing here?" Said, "Oh, someone told me you were back." And then Sala walks in and says, "Oh, you're back, Indiana Jones. You're walking." And he goes, "Yeah." And then Marion kisses him she's like, "Where does it hurt?" She said, "Doesn't hurt here." Kisses her there, kisses her on the shoulder. They have a little kiss at the end. And then you see Sala and the goddaughter, Helen Shaw, walk off, and with the kid Teddy and their kids. And Sala has kids too, so they all walk off to go get ice cream. You see a fade to black on Indiana Jones' hat, and then Indiana Jones rips the hat, and that's how the movie ends. And I had to applaud it once it said directed by James Mangold. I knew it was, but I had to applaud because the film really did entertain me. It really made me think back to the old Indiana Jones. It's not like Temple of Doom. It's not like the original 3, but it's way better than the last one. You'll have a good time with it. And let me give you my rating right now. So with that said, guys, my final rating and thoughts on Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny is that I think, as I've heard other people say, I've heard many people say this, but one of my I shouldn't say good friends because I haven't met him yet, But one of my good favorite reviewers, Christian Harloff, has, I think, given this film a 7 out of 10, and I would have to agree with that. I think this film is definitely a 7 out of 10. I think there's moments in it, like, I think Crystal Skull is like a 5 out of 10, maybe a little bit lower, maybe a 4 out of 10. I would say Crystal Skull is maybe a 5 out of 10. I don't know. I haven't given my full thoughts on Crystal Skull, but this one's definitely a 7 out of 10. Maybe Crystal Skull's a 5 because, yeah, I'll think about it. I think Crystal Skull's a 5 out of 10. But this one's definitely a 7 out of 10 for the great moments, and then there's a few weird moments in there because, again, I love James Mangold. I think it just doesn't have that Spielberg flair, which Crystal Skull is Spielberg, but this just doesn't have that classicness, but it still really, really works. And for the modern age, it works. Some people might think, no, it sucks. Like, my friends might think it sucks. But, I mean, they have not seen it. I'm the one that's seen it. I like it. Couple of other points here. I think it, like, people say, oh, you're just biased on everything. But I told you my love of the franchise. Like, I did not think Thor. When I saw Thor: Love and Thunder, I might have been really positive on it. But as over time, Thor: Love and Thunder's been, and then Ant-Man was okay. Like, I'm getting a little bit worn out. Not by superhero films, by mediocrity. And I can feel it, actually. I can feel it now. But this film really brightened my day. Really brightened my movie-going experience. I think by not seeing Flash, I've done a service to myself. I think by not seeing Elemental, I've done a service by myself. By not paying for the movie. I want to see it on Disney+, so that's that. And by not seeing Transformers, too. I was kind of excited about it, but there wasn't a lot of buzz for that. So, yeah, I think I've done myself a favor by going to see Spider-Verse and this movie. Cannot wait for Mission Impossible, Oppenheimer, and Barbie all coming out this summer. Seeing them, reviewing them. Stay tuned for all that. And, oh, yeah, I gave my rating for it. 7 out of 10. I forgot. Don't forget to leave a like. Leave a like if you did enjoy this review down below. Don't forget to leave a comment if you've seen the film, not seen the film, or you're not seeing the film. Are you just judging a book by its cover? Please don't do that. See this film. Let me know if you are. Let me know if you have already in the comments section below. And subscribe to the channel. Follow me at Boba Fett Jedi Master. Links down below. As always, don't forget to like, subscribe, follow me, and give them hell, Indiana Jones. That's what we all do. Don't forget to follow me, like, subscribe, follow me. Don't forget to keep calm. Play Lego. Peace out, everyone. Bye.